the Biden administration to punish those with good credit scores with higher mortgage payments to subsidize others. This is the one thing, though. There really is some of the big things that everyone's missing. George Gammon just did a video. What he is missing part of what's going on. So let's dive into this and see exactly what is happening to better understand what we're looking at and why this is being done. This is the important thing. Why is this being done? It's not what everyone thinks. It's not what influencers out there, it's not what everyone's talking about. So, in short, the new Biden enforced federal rule, which again, Fannie and Freddie, they are New Deal era, Roosevelt government programs, which shouldn't be around in the first place. Government shouldn't be in any of these things, mind you, right? We talk about this all the time. Government shouldn't be in any of these things. And we allow these things to happen and prolong the socialization of our country, the socialism, the collectivism, the Fabianism, which we talk about all the time. But the new Biden enforced federal rule will levy an additional fee on those with high credit scores in an effort to subsidize those with riskier credit looking to purchase houses. So that's the gist of it. That's really what it is, quite honestly. And most people are like, well, there's disadvantaged groups that, reparations, you want to call it, or they're just going to try to help the homeowners that are people that might not be able to afford homes. And you're going to have a situation where you're going to crash the housing market because now you're going to have, and this is what people are missing, like George Gammon. And there's many others out there saying this is going to be a CBDC. This is for CBDC. This is the reason. It's the Treasury General account, and they want the dollar liabilities at the Fed and all this stuff, and they're going to force everything there. That's like the plumbing of it. That's kind of like the symptom, not the cause, right? Like that's just part of what's happening, and that's why people are missing the forest from the tree. So it's kind of an emergency video. I've got my phone here that took some notes because this is what immediately strikes me when you look at it with the framework. What I believe, and that's my bias, my truth is looking at it from the right framework, first principles. What's really happening and why is it happening? Like we always talk about here, question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. I want to get to the root cause of things. I don't want to put band-aids and bullet holes. I'm not here to pop some pills and get a six-pack abs. We're here for proof of work. Actually doing the work that gives you the true success and fulfillment in your life. In great chaos comes greater order, a higher degree of order. And that's what we have here if we get independent and get resilient. So what are we missing here? What is going on? What are we missing here with the home loans and the fact that we shouldn't have Fannie and Freddie and things like that? That's beyond that. Because it's unconstitutional, but that's neither here nor there. So again, Gammon says it's about CBDCs. Many others do too. They're kind of missing the forest in the trees here a little bit. Here are the big things that we need to know. What is happening is what are we doing? We're training people to pay more interest, right? We're training people, one, to take on more debt than they can even afford. Because these people don't have money problems, they have psychological problems. And that's what money is. Money is a psychological engine, as we talk about Noah Bowerley. You can give a poor person a lottery ticket and they win. What do most lottery winners do? They lose it. Skills, it's psychological, it's the thoughts and things you are telling yourself and what you're training yourself, the skills you're developing. That is it. That is it. That is money. Money is information. Money is ideas. It's creativity. It's value creation. So you're training people to pay more interest and be loose with debt and decisions because there's no consequences really now, right? Like, why do this? So why would a good person work their butt off to pay things off on time, things like that, when they're going to get advantage, they're going to be incentivized to have a worse credit because now the people with worse credit are getting subsidized to have worse credit. So now that brings everyone down. This is what socialism does and collectivism. It brings everyone down. It makes everyone poor. It doesn't bring the standard of living up. That's what capitalism does. So we have this inflationary legacy system, this collectivist problem, this globalist problem, this Fabian socialism communist problem, and it brings everyone down. You're training people like zoo animals to be and incentivizing them to have terrible credit and take on more debt, just like student loans, right? Thanks, Obama and Biden 10 years ago. So they won't be able to afford anything, right? Because now you're going to have worse and worse debt problems, incentivize people to take on more debt and be more loose with decisions. So now you won't be able to own anything. You won't be able to buy cars. You won't be able to buy, really at the end of the day, because they'll have to be subsidized. But this is what we're going to get into in a second, because this will happen. You'll still be able to buy cars and houses, but here's the kicker. This is where the CBDCs do end up coming back in, and George Gammon is right, but it's a symptom in that regard. He's not right that that's the cause, like their main goal. It is to a degree, but it's not also, right? It's way more all-encompassing than just like, hey, they want a CBDC, and it's more sinister than that. So you'll own nothing, and you'll rent everything and be happy. And how does that happen? I told you guys before that foreclosures won't result in people losing their homes. It will result in CBDCs and you owning nothing. If you download their app, right? So we talked about this before many times. One of my predictions over the last number of years is you won't see, I moved family members out of their house 12, 14 years ago that they built with their own hands in the housing industry. I had to move them out. That was my first aha into, wow, the government, both sides are screwing us. I need to learn the system 14 years ago. So now this is not going to happen again because social media, we just saw with Silicon Valley Bank what happened there. Because of social media, I guarantee you're going to have people down the street there, look, Citibank, Chase, kicking people out of their homes, kicking the Johnson family out of their home, and Facebook Live and TikTok Live. So that's not going to happen. That social pressure is going to be too great, because they tried to do bail-ins with Silicon Valley Bank and it didn't work. They had to immediately go for bailouts. So they tried it. That's not going to work. So what they're going to do is they're going to have the app, the FedNow or CBDC, a slavery coin. They're going to say, hey, you know what? We're going to buy your house back from you. It's worth $250. We're going to buy it for $300. So we'll buy it for $250, but that extra $50, we'll give it to you in your government app, in your slavery coin app. If you just download it, we'll put it there for you. It'll have 50 grand extra sitting in your account if you do that. That's the carrot. That's they're incentivizing you to be in their system, chaos, fear, emotions, and pass emergency measures, pass crazy, insane things. That is why, mark my words, this is a story as old as time. This happens all the time throughout human history. Nudge, push, shoot, right? Nudge, push, shoot. They first nudge you, that doesn't work. Then they push you, if that doesn't work, then they shoot. This is the story of governments, and we continue to not learn our lessons. So those predictions, I have those three. So the foreclosures won't happen because of social pressure, and you'll just be trying to be herded, corralled into CBDC. Student loan debt won't be paid the rest any time the Democrats are in there, the modern day Democrats. And the other is the biggest one, which is stoking fear, stoking hate, stoking division, stoking anger, where people lash out, say a Trump supporter or, again, people that are generally more conservative or more fiscally conservative, and they lash out, and the modern Fabianists and socialists hope that happens, so that way they can turn everything and say, boom, see, we told you these people are psychos. We told you they're insurrectionists. We told you they're this, that, and another thing. This is the most insidious game, and you have to stay vigilant. You have to stay sane. You have to get right mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, because the times we are entering are going to blow your mind. We've been talking about this for years. This is going to blow your mind, so get ready. Be independent. Be resilient. Get Bitcoin. Get a little bit of gold and silver. Get some lead, ammo, guns, security, water, food storage, a little bit of land, and build community, because this is the greatest opportunity going forward. But we are going to see some insane things over the next 2 to 4 years. I really think it was probably a 4-year window, quite honestly. Maybe 2, but probably a 4-year window or so, where we have crazy things happen. But people are waking up. The younger generations have had it. They've absolutely had it. And as this hippie bubble pops, the older generations start to fade away from power. We're going to have a massive flipping of the iceberg, the true flipping. So get prepared, get ready. It's the greatest times. It's the craziest times. It's the fourth turning, but it's the greatest times as well. So again, like I said, George Gammon had it right in the sense that he has some of the symptoms and some of the things downstream right, like they want CBDCs. But first and foremost, they want to stoke fear, hate, and division, because that's what gives you the ability to then cancel student loan debt, to cancel the mortgages, and get people into their government apps or CBDC apps, stuff like that. So those are the reasons they were doing this. This is the reason they do a lot of these things, these shock and awe things, because they want people up in arms. They want people emotional. They want people fearful. They want people running for the hills, so that way they can then go past more crazy and insane things. Again, just like the infrastructure bills and the omnibus bills, they don't get to pass like the Restrict Act. One of the most insane things we just did in expose a couple weeks ago. They know it's not going to pass. It's crazy. But then they break it apart, and then they start just shoving it into infrastructure bills or omnibus bills and different bills, and no one ever reads them. Even Nancy Pelosi, people in Congress don't even read them. They admittedly don't read them. So this is why we have so many problems, because there's literally no one guarding the watchtower. So I appreciate you guys. And again, at the end of the day, all roads lead to Bitcoin. I mean, I know people sometimes, love we talk about Bitcoin. Some people say, hey, the reason we talk about Bitcoin is because I've been down the road of politics. Doesn't work. I've been down the road of gold and silver. Doesn't work. I've been down these other roads. I've run the gauntlet. This is through experience. I'm not sitting here, I've looked at all the other cryptocurrency. I look at it. Bitcoin is the only thing that can get us out of this mess. Number one is God, but number two, at a human level, it's Bitcoin. It's fixing the money to fix the world. But this is the clown world. When we have broken currency, and we have the bailouts, and we have these things continually going on, This will continue to happen. We'll have dumber and dumber things happen like this, where they're able to get this by and make people mad, make people emotional, but we can't. You just have to stay calm, take a deep breath, and understand this is what's going on. But as a Bitcoiner flying at 100,000 feet, these moves are very obvious. I mean, I've been saying this for how long, guys? We've been talking about this for a long time. Crazier and crazier things are going to happen. We're going to see much more civil unrest because people are going to be pissed off. The French Revolution showed us what was going on 250 years ago. The American Revolution. People are not going to take this. So we have to be prepared because a great opportunity is coming. But there's going to be a bridge we have to cross of craziness. There's the fire. We got to get through the fire, out of the frying pan, into the fire, and then through that fire. So I appreciate you guys for coming to my TED Talk. Let me know your thoughts on this because this just hit me. The intuition just kicked in immediately, and it was just very obvious to me. Let me know your thoughts, but I appreciate you tuning into this. Share it out because the algorithm hates truth, and the fastest way to affect change is to share truth everywhere. And this is my truth. And what I've studied for 20 plus years, being an investor, studying politics, being in politics, and our family office, being a business owner. So I appreciate you more than you know, and a student of history and military. So I appreciate you more than you know. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. And this is not financial advice, it's freedom advice. We need to have our freedom and liberty, and that gives you the ability to then have wealth and freedom. So I appreciate you more than anything. Please share it out. Let me know what you think was going on here with this specifically and let your thoughts on it. Would love to know, and I will see you on the next one.